Good job today, man. It's one at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
And the home of the Jets.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Mr. GreenBean?
Hey, what's going on, man? This is awesome.
Long time no talk, man.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You know, I'll be honest with you. I listened to both, Ryan and Matt. They got on your show. You guys were really great shows. And I was like, what happened? I didn't even get invited. And then Ryan said he did invite you. I said, what'd I say? I have no recollection. I was feeling terrible. So I'm happy to be here tonight, though, man. It's going to be good.
Well, I definitely appreciate your time, man. I know it's like with the draft and everything, everybody's just so busy if you're a content creator, man. At some point, you want to just like exhale, rewind. You'd be like, I got to regroup here and get sleep and energy.
Yeah, what's that? Nobody even knows. What is sleep? What is energy? Just keep going, you know?
So the question I have for you is, as a content creator, what has it been like, man? We've been through some rough times, man, where most of our content was negative. We're angry. We're covering the draft in like November and October because the season's already over. What has this offseason been like for you, man? Just in terms of just having fun doing all this.
Yeah, dude, since we've all been doing, I mean, you were doing it a long time. I don't remember if you were around in 2015 on this end, but I think I found you in like 2000, maybe 18, 19, something like maybe 18.
Yep.
And it's been negative since. You know what I mean? Like we're always trying to find, you said something recently on one of the shows. You said there's like real hope, not that bullshit hope that we always make up like something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, right. Like when we're trotting out, McCown and, it's like, Jermaine Kearse and Robbie. And it's like, we know we're not winning the Super Bowl, but we root and we pretend. This is different. It's an interesting shift. And like we saw it in the draft this year, where obviously we all had our own plans. We had, we thought we had an idea what they likely do. If not an offensive tackle, maybe it'll be a defensive tackle, maybe it'll be JSN, and then they throw this Will McDonald guy at us, and we don't know what's happening. We don't even know how to ingest it. And then a few days removed, and you look, and it's like, wait a minute, this team, this organization is really, they're kind of in the middle of this shift to like, we're not looking for the first 4 rounds of the draft to be instant starters anymore. Like, remember that? Like, think about Lorenzo Malden in the third. We needed that guy to come in and be an elite pass rusher, or else we were going to suck. Yep. And like, we've been depending on that for years. And this idea, while maybe, with Aaron Rodgers, you'd like to see some more immediate impact, and we can talk about all that stuff, but we're seeing a team that's shifting. And it's really kind of interesting because we haven't won a damn thing, Tyson. We've done nothing. Yet here we are, and we're all, kind of brimming over with positivity. I think justified, but still a little spooky. I have a hard time really allowing myself to be like, we're going to be 12 wins. And,
dude, I'm the opposite, man. Because I bought in. I had to, because I'm like, and like you said, dude, for so many years, we'd sit here and justify Chad Hansen and our Darius Stewart and be like, bro, these guys are going to be legitimate receivers. Like we got some sleepers here. We'd be like pulling stuff, and like we'd go into the season and you're like, we would drink the Kool-Aid, man. And you knew the Kool-Aid was poisoned. You knew it was, but like as fans, you sell us some bullshit, we'll buy it until like week 8. Then we hate everybody again, cut everybody, fire everybody. And now Joe Douglas inherited a barren roster. He brought in a coach that, respected coach, a guy that everybody loves. And the roster's been changed over, dude. And I argued a Bills friend of mine all the time. And dude, I'm like, the Jets have legitimate talent for the first time in forever. Like, and it's not like shit we're making up. Like, you have Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, boom, right there. Brees Hall, Quinnen Williams. Oh, like you have, and then you add Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, as a Jets fan, how in the hell can you not be excited? Like I'm like, dude, I'm all in. To me, it's either this is gonna be the best season we've ever had, or the Titanic. We're gonna be this is like gonna be a colossal disaster, right? But like, it's refreshing, man. Where it's like you can be happy about things, you can see a lot of positive things, you could see a blueprint, you can see a vision. The moves are making sense, especially in free agency. The draft we can go into a little bit, but like you can see, like Joe Douglas is respected. Like you can see, he gives out good contracts. He's smart about it. Like they make pragmatic decisions. It's a change, man.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, I bought in too. I'm just saying I have this weird kind of background voice. Like I can't help but, I have to work hard to quell the cynic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Been so rough. And like, look, there's a piece of me, like I just got bombarded by Packers fans today. The guy, you're this and you think that. And I'm like, well, why are you over here? Like, leave me alone, dude. Yep. I'm a poverty franchise. I'm a loser. Then why are you here bothering me? Because, you guys are trying to justify the decision to move on from a guy who won 2 MVPs just a year ago, and last year, and a down year, threw for 3,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 12 picks. I mean, there's no reason to get rid of this guy. And the Packers have done that before with Brett Favre. He threw for 4,100 yards like the year that they cut him, 67% completion percentage. So it's like I can't help sometimes with that fear. You know what I mean? Because we've been through so much, and being Jets fans, it's always like maximum pain. But like you said, man. This is the first year. Like Garrett Wilson is actually a stud. He's not a guy we saw some flashes, right? That's our word, flashes. Sam Darnold, shows flashes, and we're always having flashes. Garrett Wilson, if he had a legit quarterback thrown at him, he got 1,100 yards with a hodgepodge and the 32nd ranked, quarterback tandem or a group in the NFL. And imagine if he had something last year. That guy with Aaron Rodgers could really be among the elites in the NFL. I believe he's that talented. Like you said, Brees Hall, Quinnen Williams. These are all pro level guys. AVT if he stays healthy, and on and on and on. It goes all through the roster. It is exciting, Tyson, and I think that for once we can. I mean, since 2010, really, 2015 was fun. It was an anomaly. Oh my God, all these old men are doing great. You know what I mean? Like it's fun. We had a good time. But it wasn't really, we knew that if that didn't work that moment, it was done. You know what I mean? We knew that. This team is predominantly young. Yeah, we got Aaron Rodgers and Al Woods, and there's some vets, sprinkled in here. But the truth is the core is young. And that's beautiful, man. These guys could theoretically be with us for a while.
Yeah, and the one thing is like the Jets landing Rodgers, the same old Jets, somehow this deal would fall apart. Like that's the difference. Like in years past, the Jets would want Rodgers and they would settle for friggin' Ryan Tannehill. This time they went out, they went for the shooting star. They got the guy, which is something different than they usually do. So that's what was exciting for me. But we'll cover a lot of different things. So we have Aaron Rodgers in the mix, but I think two of the biggest stories now. The first one is I have a question for you, GreenBean. Can you play left tackle?
I can.
Are you a left tackle?
No. No, I am not, but I can play it. I can play quarterback, Tyson, if you need me to. I can do it.
So
GM, I can do all that stuff.
The Mekhi Becton story got some legs. Say his Boomer Esiason went on his little rant where Mekhi Becton went on Twitter and said, "I am a left tackle." He then deleted the tweet, and then Saleh said, "You know what? You got to earn it." What is your take on that? Like, I respect that you want to have open competition in every position. You want to field your 5 best offensive linemen. But as of now, I think Dwayne Brown's one of those 5 best offensive linemen, and that's your left tackle. How do you handle this with Becton and the offensive line?
Well, number one, I loved how Saleh handled it. I mean, if you watch the press conference, mid-question, he goes, like he does like a little chuckle breath, and he smiles and he says, "Well, then go beat him out. Go win left tackle, man." He goes, like, literally, like, "What do you want from me?" And I think that's the way to do it. Now, like we've been talking about that since yesterday. I've had numerous conversations about this. Here's my real take. I believe Dwayne Brown will ultimately be the left tackle. this year. And I think Mekhi Becton, if we are having the 5 best, Mekhi Becton will be on the field as well. And he's got to suck it up and be able to take one for the team and earn it and the whole thing. That said, this is where I get into arguments with people. I do believe Mekhi Becton is a better player if healthy and could do more for us if healthy.
Right.
Than Dwayne Brown could at 39 years old coming off a rotator cuff injury and the whole thing. So I think that if they do have a competition, if they're like, hey man, this is wide open. We got X amount of we're going to have an extra preseason game because of the Hall of Fame game.
Yep.
So, we got a little bit of time. We're going to give it to you guys. If Mekhi Becton is out there rolling dudes and it's clear this guy is hungry, he's on fire, I think that he can beat Dwayne Brown out. And people say that, well, he's making $11 million. Well, so what? He's making $11 million.
Yep.
Mekhi Becton, you're already paying him. What doesn't matter. The money's already spent. Mekhi Becton's making $10 million, whatever the hell it is. So I get it. And I do think ultimately Dwayne Brown will be the starter. Mekhi Becton hopefully will be on the right side. He'll be healthy. But I think that there is a scenario where Mekhi Becton can beat him. And I think that would be best case scenario. Likely, I don't really think so. But I think it's possible, and I would love to see it. I would love to see Mekhi Becton come out and go, this is mine. Yep. I got rolled on. I had a bad string of luck. It's bullshit. I'm done with it. I'm here to take it back. And he takes it back. That would be best case scenario, man. And then he can earn his next contract and all of that sort of stuff with us.
No, I agree, man. I think, and I'm curious to see he looks phenomenal right now. Looks like he can actually play tight end or linebacker. He's getting so skinny. But the one thing about Mekhi Becton from an uneducated eye, because I'm not like a tape guy, but Mekhi Becton's size, I always thought the speed rushers got the best of him. You saw Carl Lawson at camp do it, like all those quick guys, because he was a little bit slower to the turn. He was getting beaten. And now you see with his increased athletic ability, his increased conditioning, he could be better. He actually could be better because he's always a big dude. But now he's bigger, he's faster, he's stronger, and he's more athletic, which could be a positive at the left tackle, which is a great thing, right? Then the thing is just like, it's just, can he stay healthy? Can he get through the training camp? Can he get through the season? And then how Saleh handles it is the open competition is great because you got to figure Dwayne Brown's a really respected guy in the locker room, dude. Yeah. They gave him like that selfless warrior award. They gave him
the warrior. Right.
Yeah. Right. So you figure he's a really respected guy in the locker room. Everybody, he's like a mentor, leader, all this stuff. So if he gets beaten out, I'm sure he'll be classy enough to say, you know what? Okay, like he's not gonna play right tackle, I don't think.
No, he's never done it. So he's a left tackle, right?
So then if Mekhi beats him out, then on right tackle, you're thinking what? I guess you'd have to go like Max Mitchell or Billy Turner, then guess, right?
Yeah, I would imagine they give those guys the opportunity to win it. I do, and I've heard you say a couple of times, entertaining the idea of ABT out at tackle. I don't think that door is closed, but I do think ABT, it would be best if he's probably just kind of like, hey, this is your position, right guard, and we let him become, a dominant all-pro level right guard. So I think Max Mitchell, the thing coming into the league with him was like he needs a year to gain strength. He ended up being catapulted. Oh, excuse me, man. He got catapulted into the.
That's fine. Just burp, man. It's good.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what's happening, man? So. But he got thrown into the starting lineup prematurely. He did well, he played admirably, but that was the thing. Now he came back this year and he's noticeably stronger. He's got, more muscle tone, more muscle mass to him. Yep. So he's looking like that year that we hoped he would get, as far as strength training and all that. It looks like he at least got some degree of that. And I think, when it goes down to, Dwayne Brown, Mekhi Becton, and like whether or not, he's too important. Dude, George Fant was the captain of the team for 3 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he was same kind of thing. He was a super ultra respected guy. Where's he? You know what I mean? Yeah. He's gone. Granted it was injury. He kind of had a really bad back end because he had that kind of a Pro Bowl level year at left tackle. Yep. And he wanted to hold out for a big contract, and then everything, the bottom fell out on the poor guy, and I feel for him. But the point is, just because somebody's appreciated, like if a young buck is going to come in here and outplay him, dude, Mekhi Becton could be the future. Dwayne Brown, this is it. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, so if all things are equal, I think they may be inclined to use Mekhi at left tackle as long as right tackle is manned, but he might have to eat it this year. It's going to be interesting to see. Yeah. I like how Saleh's handling it. He's going to do the same thing with Tippmann and McGovern, it sounds like.
Yep.
That'll be interesting to see. And that other guy from the Ravens, his name always escapes me. I want to say Casillas, but I just know that's not. Remember Tony Casillas?
Yeah, I remember Tony Casillas for the Jets. That was a big sign from the Cowboys at that time.
We thought he was going to save us. Save us, Mr. Casillas.
So now the question I have for you is, and you touched on it already, was the whole McGovern and Tippmann thing. McGovern came back with a ridiculously cheap contract, which I was surprised by. I thought he was going to get more in free agency, and I kind of thought the Jets were kind of moving on from him. They didn't really want him back. They're going to go with this whole Ben Jones thing, which I guess Ben Jones is evaluating his career, whatever he's doing. And then they go out and get Tippmann. I guess the first question I had for you is, with Tippmann, the Jets had their pick of the litter with the center position, and that's the guy they went with. What were your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people wanted JMS.
Yeah, I was one of them. I mean, I wanted JMS too. But the truth is I did like Tippmann. I thought he was, he was among that top group. There was like 4 that you thought really could go there. And then there was a few that, all right, if they don't get one there in the 3rd round, you got this guy and that guy, they'd be really good. And I mean, because let's remember, man, great offensive linemen are found in the 4th to 6th round consistently.
Yep.
And, we forget that. We we missed out on 1st round, and that's okay. I mean, it's okay. You find guys, Fabini comes to mind. He was a 4th round right guard. He was a stud played right and left tackle for us. O'Dwyer, Slauson, all these guys that played for us for a long time. They're 4th, 5th, 6th rounders. So I'm not too worried about that. But with Tippmann being a 2nd rounder, and like you said, he was the first real pure center taken in the entire draft. You had Steve Avila who went before him, but he's coming in as a guard, but he has played center at a very high level, and he can, which is good. But Tippmann was the first center. It was surprising only because I assumed that JMS would be gone. I think most of us did. Yep. So, pivoting to Tippmann, I thought would have been fantastic. When JMS was there and they took Tippmann, it was surprising, but not a negative. Okay, they like this guy better. I'll trust their scouting over mine. Right. I went to the Senior Bowl, but that was about it. I wasn't at the combine. I wasn't at their pro days and everything else. So, and Joe Douglas, I think, and his crew get a little bit of rope this year, Tyson. I mean, they found the offensive and defensive rookie of the year last year, in addition to Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, Max Mitchell, Michael Clemens. So that was a slam dunk draft, at least up to this point. So I'm kind of willing to give them a little bit of benefit of the doubt and say, hey, if they like Tippmann better than JMS for our scheme, then I'll go with Tippmann.
And that's kind of where I was going with it, where it's like, they know better than I do. If that's what Hackett and Douglas think is better, then fuck, who am I to say? It's right. Just like, I'm down with it. And then it's just interesting because he's versatile too. So you have him and McGovern both battling it out. And then if the odd man out could challenge at guard, but then you have AVT and Tomlinson. So it's like, for the first time in a while, they actually have depth in the offensive line, which is like, you're not one injury away from Aaron Rodgers dying. You know what I mean? Like, you at least have some kind of, you feel a little more confident. We're like, all right, we have talent, we have depth, there's competition, which brings out the best in everybody. And that's a good thing, man. That's where, in years past, we were never like that, man. We had usually starters that were mediocre and the backups were even worse than mediocre. And it's like, we're in deep shit. You got to try to scheme out of, like, you got to scheme smoke and mirrors. You may do smoke and mirrors now, but you actually have talent to support it as well.
Yeah. Imagine, think about it. Like, hypothetically, Becton beats out Dwayne Brown at left tackle. You got Billy Turner, let's say, at right tackle, and Tippmann beats out McGovern. You got Dwayne Brown, Max Mitchell, and Connor McGovern as your backups.
3 potential starters.
Yeah, right. And then you have Cedric Abuye, and you got Wesley Johnson, I think his name is, as a backup guard, and then the guy from the Ravens. I got to look him up. Somebody in the chat, maybe tell me who the hell he is.
I know you're talking about too. I keep fucking him up too.
What's his name? Starts with a C, man. The last name, anyway.
Casillas?
Tony Casillas is back.
Well, they'll definitely come up with it. But the next question, so we touched on the offensive line. The next biggest story after Mekhi Becton, I think, going into training camp is going to be the Quinnen Williams saga. As right now he's sitting out of voluntary workouts, which is fine. Nobody gives a shit about that. But once you start missing mandatory minicamp and it gets closer and closer to training camp, you start getting a little nervous. So, I get the Rich Cimini conveniently got a little nugget saying that the Jets aren't close with Quinnen Williams, which is obviously the media's, that the agent's playing a little game there. But what is your take on Quinnen, man? Are you ready to pay him? Which is going to probably be the market, I guess, is going to be similar to what DeMarcus Lawrence got.
Yeah. I mean, going into this season, I was thinking, anywhere from 18 to 22. And now
Yeah.
it's like 22 is below the floor. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, you pay the guy. I mean, I don't even think there's a question. And if Joe Douglas can't figure this out, then it's a problem. And it's a major black smear on his record. I think Quinnen is the leader of the defense. He's the young, that kind of soul, that core. I mean, you got CJ Mosley running around, you got lots of talent, Sauce, everybody running around. But Quinnen Williams is that. I mean, he's the anchor. He's the leader of the defense. We saw it in the Bengals game when he stood up and screamed at his defensive line coach, and everything changed from that moment.
Yes,
I mean, the whole season on defense changed. We looked very much like the 2021 Jets on defense before that. No, I didn't like it when I saw it. I'm like, what the hell is going on with Quinnen, man? Like, this is not good, but something changed. And I think that, when a man like him, who's, quiet, reserved, very respectful, when he gets like that, people listen because it means something. And I think, look, if we do get on Hard Knocks and the whole thing, I mean, I don't know to what degree this is real, but maybe they make it a little story. You know what I mean? They kind of some drama to
Roscoe Diner.
You know what I mean? Like maybe, hopefully not that. I think before training camp, dude, you got to get him in. Voluntaries, okay, no big deal. OTAs, all right. Training camp, you got to have Quinnen Williams. This is bullshit, man. And this is why Joe Douglas should have just signed him at the end of the season.
100% agree.
Before everybody, you get him for 23. It looks like a slight overpay. Then everybody else is getting 25 and whatever. And okay, you got him for a deal. You know what I mean?
Tristan Colon. Is that the guy?
Tristan Colon. That's right. He has 3 names too. Thank you, Harry. Tristan Cologne. There it is. Thank you.
The thing with Quinn is I completely agree with you, man, because it's like I think the longer they wait, the higher his value went. You saw the Simmons contract, and you see it, and it's like, it's like, and to me, this is a guy, this is like you said it, dude. He's like the anchor, like the heart of your defense, right there in the middle. A young guy that's, he's emerging. He's coming on. He's playing at an all-pro level. He's doing great things. He's quiet. His teammates love him. Like, his teammates are actively rooting for him on social media. Like, listen, you got to pay this guy. You got to pay this guy. And I continue to think, like, when you see, like, you're play like a Jet guy as Quinnen Williams. He's done everything right. He's getting better every year, and you're focusing your defense around him. If you don't pay him, Sauce Gardner's going to be like, bro, what are you doing? Garrett Wilson, like, wait, this is how the Jets work? Like, this guy did everything right. You said we wanted, Salah says it, we want to get you guys paid. You put him in a position to do that, then you don't pay him. So to me, Joe Douglas gets a lot of credit for trade stuff like this. This is probably the biggest contract he's been a part of, man, because this is going to be potentially $100 million guy, right? So you got to see how he's going to do it. You don't want to go to training camp. Usually when they go to training camp, there's a holdout. Injuries always happen, dude. How many times have you seen it when a guy holds out, they're not in the best of shape, or they have a hamstring injury or back injury, right? Like, and it's like, it's an unnecessary distraction. Like, this is a win now team, so much positive momentum. Don't let this be a distraction. Don't want it to be a problem, because you want to keep him. He's going to, you don't want to franchise him. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, I wonder what they're far apart on, though. You know what I mean? Like, is it, Joe Douglas needs the number to be low this year. Hey, I'll give you the bonuses, but you're, I'm going to give you a $1.3 million salary or something like that. And, I mean, I don't know. What is it? The guaranteed money? I mean, we don't, that's the thing. Like you said, this is an agent working the system. And Joe Douglas, the good news is with Joe Douglas, he doesn't care. You know, we saw it with Marcus May and all that stuff. And he was like, look, dude, I offered Marcus May a fair contract. And that's what it was. And his agent ended up losing him $7 million.
Yep.
So, with all that baloney. But that said, that can go too far too. Like, the truth is the Jets haven't given a contract to a second contract to a player since Muhammad Wilkerson. Oof. Outside of little 1 years with Jordan Jenkins and Nathan Shepard and just bullshit like that. Yep. But we haven't done it. We're known for this. Quinnen Williams is an all-pro. He's gotten better every single year, like you said. He's quiet. He's hardworking. He just does his job. We saw what the defense lacked when he wasn't there for that one game. It was a totally different scene. You got to pay him. Get it done. The optics are too important, in my opinion, just like you said with the other young guys.
Yeah, no, I think everybody's watching. That entire locker room is watching now. Like some guys are restructuring to get Aaron Rodgers in the mix. You restructure, great, and then he's like, all right, we have the money, pay one of our own, which is what they should be doing, which is great. So you go. To me, the biggest story is where Quinnen Williams getting the contract. The other guy everybody keeps talking about is trying to bring back Quan Alexander. I think that makes a tremendous amount of sense. I think it's probably just a matter of negotiating last minute. I think he signed late July last year, I guess, right? I think he signed pretty late. What are your thoughts on bringing back Quan? I'm assuming you're on that board too, right?
Yeah, I'm totally on it. But the thing is too is they might feel good enough with Jamie and Sherwood, who I was talking about this last night. One of the things that we forget about as Jets fans is that the whole system is kind of geared toward, with the later round picks and now the undrafted free agent. But you remember 12 rounds and like the later round guys. Yeah. The idea was to bring them on your system, have them play specials because anybody can, hey, stay in your lane, run down the field, make the tackle if he comes near you, that kind of thing. But the idea is to develop these guys. This is Sherwood's third year. He's second behind only our Pro Bowl special teamer in Hardy and in special teams impact and tackles and everything like that. And when he comes on the field he replaced CJ Mosley for a couple drives. He made every tackle. So like the guy's kind of ready. So maybe they're thinking they don't need Quan Alexander. Then you have Hamza Nasruddin as a backup. Again, a guy who's been here now this will be his third year as well. That said, I think that they'd like to bring him back. But Quan is trying to get some money, and rightfully so. He hasn't had a full season since 2016. This is his first time doing it. That said, he usually plays 70% and above. He played 48% of the snaps this year, and he stayed healthy. So that's the thing. I think teams don't want to pay big money for a 48% guy. So I think we could bring him back. And if we do, like you said, it'll be later. I think even if he comes on for $2 million and he's Sherwood's backup, if he ends up starting, who cares? He's still here in the event you need him. And I think it's a positive. Like you said, it's win now, man.
No, it is. I mean, bring him back. I want to be like fully stacked. I don't want to be locked and loaded everywhere. I don't want any questions. I don't want to start pinching pennies too. Oh, for another $1 million, we can go. No. Spend $1 million. Like, get the best possible team we can possibly get because we want to make a run here. So now the interesting thing is you, Ryan, and Matt did a draft stream, which was phenomenal, dude. I don't know how the hell you guys stayed awake and knew all this shit. But the first question I have for you is, how much actual time do you put into studying players, studying tape, and doing like your own personal research?
Well, to be completely frank, this year there was less. I mean, I still put in many hours and I watch a lot of game film and all that stuff. But this year, and look, we've talked about it. I've heard you guys talk about it on your show. It's a weird year, even though the offseason started significantly later for us. It still felt like a long, drawn-out offseason because of the Aaron Rodgers and the Derek Carr and the Jimmy G and all the stuff that we were exhausted of quarterback talk before we could even sign a quarterback. Yeah. I mean, so all that stuff. And I also think, look, last year we had 2 firsts, 2 seconds. We ended up trading up and having 3 firsts. And the year before we had 2 firsts and pick 33. And so there was a lot there. This year it was kind of tempered in a lot of ways. And even though I still put in a lot of hours, I think it was probably somewhere around, maybe I'll say 60% of what I usually do. But we put in a lot, man. I mean, Ryan, Matt, and myself, we talk all the time. We kind of organize things. We all have our own jobs in the stream. I do this and Matt's doing that. Ryan's running this and we're doing all that kind of stuff. And we plan all that in addition to kind of having our notes and our gathered intel on all these guys. And it's really the truth is it's a lot, but it's like we like it. That's the good news about it. I wish this was like my real job because shit, I'd be good at it, Tyson. I would just be working all day.
Yeah. So you guys are awesome, man. And it's just like you set the standard for everybody. Next, we all watch it. We're like, God damn, it's like you guys are so good. You're so thorough. You're so knowledgeable. You all bounce off each other really well. And I'm just like, how the fuck do you guys know so much? But I was with you though. Like, I know enough to be dangerous with the draft. Like I told you that. I was talking to Ryan.
Right. I
heard that. I can tell you enough, but I'm not going to tell you, 2 years ago, he hurt his toe when he walked across the street. I couldn't tell you that. But this year I didn't have the same energy because we didn't have a top 10 pick. You know what the compensation was going to be for Rodgers. And it didn't have that same fire. We weren't arguing about, do you take Sauce at 4 or Kwanu or whoever else we're going to take? You know what I mean? Right. So it wasn't the same. So then you go into the draft and the draft happens. And when they swap picks with Green Bay, I was like, all right, now you're in 15. 15 is interesting because now you're in the middle of the draft a little bit. And, who's going to be there? So when all the offensive tackles were gone and then the Patriots swap out with the Steelers, what were you thinking at 15?
Well, I was thinking trade back. They kept showing our war room, and it looked like a morgue. You know what I mean? Right? It was just, they were all just like, they didn't know what was happening. Joe Douglas is on the phone or texting or whatever.
Begging.
And then all of a sudden, it's like a party happened. Yeah. And they're all high-fiving and Ulbricht's chest bumping, Joe Douglas. I'm like, what? What happened? What, you know? And then they take a guy who, truth be told, edge rusher and cornerback were the two groups that I did very little work. I mean, I knew the guys, I knew names, and the top guys I knew stuff about, but Will McDonald was a guy I did very, very little work on. Now, Dom C, the guy who does all the content for my channel, and that's probably why I got less into it. I knew I had Dom C hanging around. He's just chewing on it. So he knew everything. He knew, like, as soon as Will McDonald's picked, he gave me this whole thing. He's this, he's that, he's this, weakness, strengths, all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
But it was like, it was really, it was a surprising pick, but I think that the whole thing with the Jets not trading down, I really thought Kalijah Cansey was going to be the pick, or Anton Harrison. I thought Anton Harrison was the sneaky tackle, that he was like the forgotten tackle. And I had been on him since the very beginning. I'm like, I don't know why people aren't talking about him. Yeah. The Jets had him in for a top 30 visit. Excuse me. I thought, you know what? They're going to get their tackle. It's Anton Harrison. They let people think it was going to be this or that.
Yep.
And then they go with Will McDonald, not Kalijah Cansey, not JSN, not Jordan Addison, any of these potential wide receivers. I was sincerely blown away. I had no idea how to even absorb it for like an hour. I was like, I don't know what happened. I don't get it. And then the first thing, he's jumping over cars. I'm like, okay, well, there's that. He jumps over cars. That's good, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I was in complete shock. And like you, I didn't really look at edge rushers too much. I was thinking Cansey. I'm thinking JSN. I'm like, it's like, to me, it's no brainer. Like, I was like, all right, we got a receiver. Let's roll. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, okay. Then your mind's thinking like Bryce Huff, Carl Lawson, Jermaine Johnson. What are we doing here? And I'm like, like everybody else, once it's over, you go back and you read all this stuff and you research it. I'm like, all right, I get it. Great athletes, stuff like that. Not what I would have done. But what the hell do I know? It was interesting though. And then it's like, Saleh and Joe Douglas keep saying they're going best player available. They don't give a shit what the need is. Like I was thinking, like Cansey made a lot of sense to me, to be honest.
Tons.
With you, right? And I'm like, but they're like best player available. This is the best guy on our board. And I'm like, okay, so then that's where you're gonna go. And it's like, I guess when you have this much talent and depth on the team that they have now, you have more luxury as in years in the past, like you talked about. In years past, that first round pick's got to be an instant starter, instant star. And now McDonald's coming into a room where he's probably gonna play what? A quarter of the game, maybe. I mean, reps he's going to possibly get with the 30%. Defensive line. He's not going to play a lot. So it's an ideal situation from him. He's got great mentors. He's got, great leaders to learn from. But the question I have for you, did you like that approach? Because I know Connor Hughes is very critical, saying, you know what, this is a win now team, get win now players. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, look at all those times that we did exactly what you said, whether it was Jamal Adams or Darren Lee or Leo or Muhammad Wilkerson, Quentin Coples, all the guys. You can go back, Kyle Wilson, fucking D. Milliner, Sheldon Richardson. How did it work out for us? How did it work out? And it didn't. And I think, that pressure and stuff, while we are still wound that way, I mean, it's how we think, man. This has been decades of this shit. And, expecting this and wanting this and getting excited. And the draft is our Super Bowl, and it has been for a very, very long time. Yeah. And to see this shift again, it's like this kind of, this shift from, hey, we feel that the need player is at a secondary tier to the player that's here.
Right.
We can use him too. We got guys leaving, and he's going to play 30% of the snaps. And the snap, like maybe it's like a Bryce Huff kind of thing. Like when he does play, we're setting them loose. Yeah. And maybe Will McDonald.
I wish it was Will Anderson.
Wishful thing. But maybe we, look, it's third downs, third and longs, and he ends up coming away with 6 or 7 sacks of the most important moments in games. And this guy ends up being that star at 30% of the snaps. He just has that massive impact, because the truth is that he might be the best edge rusher on our team. And, it's a funny thing, it's like up till last year, I have been out front of this chorus. Like, we need to draft edge rushers. It's bullshit. It's why I was pissed about the Sauce Gardner pick. People are still making fun of me. You hated Sauce. I didn't hate Sauce.
Yep.
I wanted an edge rusher. They were all still there except for Aiden Hutchinson. Oh, and whatever, Trayvon Walker, who I hated, but Karloftis, JJ, Kayvon Thibodeau, they were all still there. And I thought, this is the year we get a premium and we pass. Okay, well, it's got to happen at 10, right? Yeah. Garrett Wilson. What the fuck just happened? What is this? Yep. And then that 26, it made sense. Okay. Oh, this is great. Yep. Okay, good. But now all of a sudden we have too many for me. Now I'm mad. Now, again, the reason I'm mad is because I had expectations elsewhere. But I think Will Anderson, again, Will McDonald, I don't know. That's the first time I'm doing that. There's something going on tonight, Tyson. But I think Will McDonald, he can have an impact this year. Maybe it's not a starter, but look, we were complaining about the rotation percentages last year anyway. Why is Quinnen playing 70%? He should be playing 90%. Well, everybody stayed healthy and they were dynamic and they were all fresh and it worked. I mean, who are we, right? It worked. So maybe this idea, like Will McDonald coming in and playing 30, 35%, the way that they use him, he'll get that impact of a starter, if you need to say it like that way. And it doesn't matter, but he still has the impact that we would be hoping from a first round pick.
Yeah, I mean, the way they used Bryce Huff last year drove me insane. Like, he wouldn't play much, but when he played, he made impact plays. And it's like, but I'm like you, dude. I was begging for pass rushers. I mean, I was so tired of saying John Abraham's name as a reference point. It was pissing me off. Like, I had to start using, like, well, we had Aaron Maben for a little while, like that little underutilized small guy. But then it's like, now we finally have so many explosive edges, which is nice. Speed guys and all these different things are great. But the one thing they needed was they needed a run stuffer in the middle. That was a huge need next to Quinnen Williams. They go out and get Woods. What'd you think about him, man? Because I thought that was a great get from Seattle. They needed him because that was kind of a hole in their defense, stopping the run.
It's true. I mean, it was like, that's why I was, look, as much as once the offensive tackles weren't there, I did want to pivot to, I did want to pivot to Kancey. But that said, I was really in favor of taking a big fatty in round 4 or 5. I wanted a guy named Keandre Coburn. There were a few more guys that I liked, nice 340 plus, specifically to eat that space first and second down. They don't have to make the tackle. Let the linebackers play cleanup. I don't care. Just clog the running lanes. That's all I want. Now, Al Woods, and people are saying, he's replace Sheldon Rankins. That's not really accurate. When you break it down and look at who he's more like, it's really a Nathan Shepard replacement. Yeah. They played a very, very similar percentage, 39 for Woods, 37 for Shepard. Their tackles are right in the same pocket. Their sacks are right in the same pocket. Now, Al Woods actually had better stats, but the interesting thing is Al Woods, even their percentages were close, but Al Woods played, I think it was 42 less plays and had more tackles and more sacks, and only by a little, but he did. So Al Woods also had an interesting stat that Ryan was talking about that PFF created, which is called stops, which is for when a defensive tackle, or when anybody really, but when a defensive tackle in particular, in this instance, makes the play that causes the tackle. So again, the running back's supposed to go between the tackle and between the guard and the center. Has to bounce it outside because there's nothing doing. Al Woods clogged it up, bounces to the outside. The cornerback comes up, takes him out at the legs, and he gets high-fived over there, and everybody goes, he's so good. But without the tackle, that play never happened. So PFF created that. Now, he, in addition to the 39 tackles and 5.5 sacks, whatever the hell it was, he had 60 stops.
Wow.
That's what we're missing, Tyson. There. So yes, he's 36. Yes, he's not the long-term answer, but damn, was that a good get. And if we're talking about replacing Nathan Shepard's percentage, in the rotation, we're going to get significantly better and improved production out of that. And I think it's a slam dunk, man. Slam dunk move.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot too. It was a huge hole. Like I said, I thought they're going to address it in the draft. They didn't. And then you start panicking because guys were getting signed. The Bills signed that guy, and I was like, oh man, now the market's getting really dry here. They go out and get Woods. So then the only other question you have, then you look at the safety position, because many thought Jordan Whitehead could be a cap casualty. He's still here. They go out and trade for Clark. What are your thoughts on the safety position? Because I still think they need a guy with, I'm not, this Ashton Davis story is over for me. Like, I'm done with this, the miracle.
You don't
Ashton
love him?
Davis. No. And
So
I know
good.
that the Jets are high on Tony Adams, but I still think they need a safety that can run, that can cover. Like, are you comfortable with Clark and Whitehead? Because they seem like the kind of similar players.
I'm not. That was, it's funny, man, because we talk about, we could have got JSN. Oh, we missed on the tackle. Nice and quiet. Like, I'm sitting back here like, guys, we don't know who the free safety is. That's one I want to tell you. That's the glaring hole from my perspective. Now, that said, just like maybe with Jamie and Sherwood, like, there's a time, guys, like most good teams, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Niners, the Pats, they let guys go, and the next guy up there they have all the confidence in the world. Yeah. They put him in. They believe in him. He's ready to go. He's in the system for 2-3 years, and he plays well. Now, we're not used to that. It freaks guys like me out. I'm like, I don't like this shit, man. Yep. But maybe that's what they're going to do. Salah might have all the confidence in the world. Now, that said, the guy, what the hell is his full name? Converse.
Yeah.
Jarek, right? What the hell is
Jarek Bernard Converse?
There it is. Bernard is the piece. I always forget. Jarek Bernard Converse. I'm not sure if you saw that. I imagine you did. But the mini camp, depth chart, whatever, he was listed as a safety, not a cornerback. So it's interesting because in many people's estimations, he's really built to be a safety, not a cornerback. Now they, like with guys, like we had an undrafted free agent, Lamar Jackson, who we got back this year. He was poached by Chicago. And then obviously everybody knows about Jason Pinnock, a cornerback that we brought on, kind of lacked in coverage, but he had a big body, fast, very, very athletic. And we moved him to safety. We kind of groomed him, and then we exposed him to waivers, and the Giants snatched him, and he's their starter. I think Jared Bernard Converse might even be a better option than Pinnock was coming into the NFL than, as far as being a candidate to switch from cornerback to safety. So that could be an option too. Granted, you don't want to necessarily start a 5th or 6th round pick. He's a 6th, right? I think. Yeah, he was our 6th round pick, 184. Yeah. So he, it's not, you don't want to count on that, but maybe Tony Adams starts and we're grooming this guy. And by week 6, we have a dynamic, very, very athletic, big-bodied safety ready to go. I mean, that could be something too. But no matter how you slice it, it's a huge question mark. I think they slept on that one a little bit more than I'd like.
Yeah, I think that's a position that coming into training camp, if they're going to tinker with the roster a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised they do something there. They sign somebody or keep looking for somebody. Now, if you look at the Jets defense in a whole, they had a great year last year, all great stats, shut down and dominated many games. This year, much tougher schedule, but the expectations from our fan base is a lot higher as well. So everybody's like, oh, we have a top 5 defense. I'm like, we're gonna have a good defense, but I'm not so sure it's gonna be a top 5 defense. What is your expectation for this group going into this year?
There's 2 sides to this. Now, number one, second year together, we kept them all together. The only guys we lost are Nathan Shepard and Sheldon Rankins. Am I missing anybody? I mean, that's it. Right. Yep. So we kept Quan Alexander. So we kept pretty much the entire defense together, which is amazing for us in particular.
Yep.
So second year together, theoretically, they should be a more well-oiled unit. They now know each other. They, that kind of gelling aspect could start to set in. So maybe, just maybe, they can be a top 5 defense, maybe even the best defense in the league. That said, I think the main thing to remember is that we were crazy healthy on defense last year.
Yes.
Now, look, I'm going to buy in. Like we said earlier, we're going to choose to buy in. I'm choosing to buy in that this Dr. DeWeese and the whole new medical thing that Joe Douglas put together 2 years ago, this is now going into their 3rd year. This is the beginning of their 3rd year together too. And look, the injury outside of offensive line, I mean, we had a little scattering of normal injuries, but Quinnen missed a game. Rankins missed a game. Yeah. LaMarcus Joyner missed some games. But other than that, it was really healthy. So maybe, just maybe, we're turning that corner too, Tyson. That would be great. But I think realistically, I would say this is probably anywhere from a 5 to a 10 defense. You know what I mean? But you add the offense. That was without an offense too, man. So I don't know. You know what? I'm buying in. I'm saying top 5. It's hard to say it because I'm with all the reasons why. But again, second year in this system, if they stay healthy, I think we can be that defense, especially having some help. Some sustained drives, not, getting a big turnover and then they're back on the field 3 plays later.
Yep.
For 4 minutes, they sit down, they high five, and they're putting their helmets back on. Like that shit's got to wear on you. So I think there's a lot of potential, man. I think it could go, if a few balls bounce our way, I think we could see a repeat of sorts. But no matter how you slice it, we got a top 10 D in my opinion.
Yeah, I think where they got lucky with injuries last year, they were unlucky with turnovers, where they weren't getting the interceptions, they weren't getting the fumbles. How many times was there a ball on the ground they wouldn't pick it up? I'm like, how? Like it was like they're allergic to the fumble. I couldn't figure it out. So
yeah,
I think they can get better luck there. And like you said, with the offense too, man, with the offenses on the field, they're not forced to have 5 3-and-outs in a row to keep the team in the game. If anything, they could pin their ears back and maybe be more aggressive if they have a lead. They're up by 13, up by 14. It's a whole different mindset on defense, which would be great. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm kind of still in the top 10. I'm still like that little skeptical, nervous, cynical Jet fan. My back of my head kind of still creeps in.
Totally.
On the offensive side of the ball, some interesting things here where you had the running back position. They go out and they draft Izzy, who's a complete speedster. You had Breece Hall coming back from injury. You have Michael Carter. You have Zonovan Knight. What do you think about, first of all, with Izzy being drafted and then the running back group as a whole?
Well, I think it's exciting. I mean, look, dude, just a couple years ago, we were hoping Trenton Cannon could be,
I forgot all about him.
We had a 31-year-old Bilal Powell, and then we had a Trenton Cannon, then we have Matt Forte, and it's like, I mean, this is what we've been rooting for, man. Like we had no ability to put any excitement on the field. I think this is an amazing opportunity. I love the pick. I really do love the pick. Rumor is that they were looking at a running back in the first round, which I struggle to believe that one. But that said, Abanikanda Izzy is widely regarded as like a stud running back. And years ago, there'd be 4 or 5 running backs taken in the first and 3 in the second. It's not that way anymore, even though we did see 2 first-round running backs this year. I think in general, the guys that you're able to get in the 4th, 5th round, 10 years ago were 2nd-round picks, 3rd-round picks at worst. So I think this is a guy that really adds to a very nice stable. I mean, if Breece is healthy, this is studly. If not, you still got Michael Carter, who I know a lot of Jets fans kind of soured on. But we got to remember, like, we were all, we all had our issues with LaFleur. LaFleur alienated players. He had players in the doghouse. Guys are yelling, "You suck." We had to trade guys. Mims is learning 3 positions. We got all this weird shit going on. We fire the guy. Why not buy into the idea that Michael Carter suffered from LaFleur too? Yeah. I mean, and then you look at the second half of the season, guys, teams were putting 8-9 in the box all game because Zach couldn't beat him. It was even Mike White. He's, we're rolling out a broken ribbed Mike White. He can't quite. Joe Flacco's like, he's literally sleeping on the sideline. Then they put his helmet on. He runs out. There was numerous times they showed Joe Flacco. He's doing the slow blink. He's like, Like, dude, it's the 3rd quarter. Why are you sleeping, man? Like, what the hell's going on? So, like, this is what we were doing. Like, they knew that our quarterback, our passing game really wasn't a threat. Go man on their guys. Generally speaking, we're going to rush the passer. We're going to clog the lanes. We're going to take the running game, make Zach have to beat us, and he can't. And so that we saw that impact. But I think Michael Carter, Bam Knight, Breece Hall, Izzy, I think this is a really strong running back group, stronger than we're used to seeing. Yep. And I think it's incredibly exciting. I can't wait. I think Breece could even, if he's not ready, you said it, man, and you nailed it. I'd rather have Breece at the end of the season, week 14, healthy, than healthy the first 4 weeks of this, and then wear down. If he's not 100%, don't play him. That's the most important thing.
They have enough talent too, man. They have enough talent where you're not forced to. You don't have to force anybody out. There's plenty of guys that can step right in and make their move, which is great. And the Jets have overall team speed is improved too, which is exciting. That's the one thing where we talked about pass rushers, receivers, running backs. We actually have guys that can actually take off and be game-changing players, which we didn't have them forever. We had to kind of generate them in our head. So you go from the running back group, we talked about offensive line, you look at wide receiver now, which is really interesting because they completely made them over now too, where you have Garrett Wilson, who's a star in the making. You added Hardman, you have Lazard, you have Cobb, you have Mims. I mean, what are your thoughts on this wide receiver group now? Do you like how they kind of overhauled it a little bit?
I do. A couple things. One is I'm surprised Corey Davis is here. I don't think that was the plan. I think, that's why you don't cut people right away, right? That's why you don't do it. So
I have 3 months ago.
Yeah, dude, I thought he was going to be the first to go.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yep.
10, we saved 10.5, like him and Carl Lawson, Jordan Whitehead, they're all still here.
Yep.
But I thought, I believe that was part of the plan. It just didn't work out. And if it doesn't work out, your plan B is he's right here. He's a good wide receiver. He blocks well. He's a good teammate, all those kinds of things. And he's had shitty quarterback play too. So you got to add that into the mix. But I think, so that's one. Number two, I really do, even though I didn't like the way he handled it, man, really, and I'll never defend it. I just wish Elijah Moore could have been here. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like that we had to get rid of him. I mean, if he asked for a trade again, you got to do it. I mean, that's all well and good. Oh, Elmo, that's nice. Thank you.
But just for the record, he said the same thing about Ryan and Matt too.
Yeah, I bet. Everybody, it's okay. That's everybody. Everybody can be the GOAT. The word GOAT doesn't mean goat anymore. It means everybody's a GOAT. You're a GOAT, not the GOAT. That's the way. Thank you, Elmo.
It's better than a donkey.
Indeed. I'd rather be a GOAT. So, yeah, I think all that said, Lazard, people forget, like a lot of the things that Green Bay fans are saying, like, you guys are dependent on Lazard and Cobb to save. No, we're not, actually. I mean, we have a very strong wide receiver, tight end, running back group that Lazard is coming here to be a piece.
Yep.
Cobb is coming here to be hopefully wide receiver 6. I'm not off the Mims train. Dude, I got on there. I'm not getting off. I'm taking, if it goes off a cliff, I'm going to be on it going, what are you going to do? Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm on the Mims train. And I believe in the kid. I think he had a really bad, he got a bad rap here. And that is what, I don't want to fight with anybody about it tonight, but I think Denzel Mims is going to earn his spot up the roster, up the positional group. But all that said, man, I think it's all about packages, like who starts and who doesn't start. It's not as important as it used to be. Like Curtis Martin was your starting running back. The other running backs didn't get a look, maybe 2 carries a game in short yardage or something. He was your running back. It's not that way anymore. Starter, okay, he starts, but he might be playing less than the guy that comes in after him. And it's all about packages. But that all said, I think that our wide receiver group is strong. I think that they're very capable. Lazard was a stud last year. He was their wide receiver 1. They lost their number 1 wide receiver. He's coming here and he's wide receiver 3, 2 at best.
Yep.
So I think it's exciting. And I like that we have 2 guys that Aaron Rodgers has thrown to before. So like when the shit hits the fan, if there is communication errors, it's not going to be with Lazard. He's going to be good. You know what I mean? So if Garrett Wilson takes a minute to get, they're not clicking, he looks over at Lazard. Lazard's right where he needs to be. He's 6'5". He catches over the shoulder with no problem. He'll run people over. So I think it's exciting, Tyson. I really do.
No, I agree, man. I'm super excited. I think they have a good combination of size, speed. Like Corey Davis is the size guy. You have speed. I like Hardman. I'm curious to see Hardman in space because that's somebody you can scheme. You can create yards with him easily. And then you go to the tight end position, and it's like, I think last year they were kind of, with bad quarterback play, man, like you don't know. I thought they had more potential than they actually productivity could have had. Conklin dropped a lot of passes. Uzuma was kind of like, he was open, wasn't getting the ball. And then Rucker didn't even play. When he was active, he didn't play. To me, I think the tight end position is going to be a lot better than people think because isn't that going to be the safety valve for Rodgers? I think he's going to hit them more than probably Mike White and friggin' Zach did and Flacco, right? Like I think it's a sneaky good position for the Jets.
Yeah, well, number one, I agree with you. I think they were disappointing last year, but I don't think it was all their fault. I mean, I think, Conklin was the most disappointing because he had the most opportunities. And like when you play your former team and they actually use you to beat their former team and he has 6 drops or whatever it was, I mean, that's bullshit, man. And you can't, you can't justify it. You can't defend it.
Yep.
That said, you got to remember, man, like the biggest thing with receivers and quarterbacks is developing that chemistry, that rapport, that comfort level. And we were switching back and forth from this quarterback. And we started with Flacco, then we had Zach, then they had Mike White, then it went back to Zach, then we put Mike White back in, he gets hurt, then we got Strebler. And like these guys, they're catching different passes. And it's football. The ball hits you in the hand, you're supposed to catch it. At the same time, it's coming at a different velocity. When Strebler threw the ball, it looked like a fucking meatball. It was like it's coming end over end. How am I supposed to catch this freaking thing? So, there's a lot of that too. I mean, these are highly refined, like, super athletes, and everything's like worked out to the just a microscopic degree. And if it's off, it's different to them. Like me, I'm thinking like Klecko, like fucking Klecko. Yeah, we need you to play defensive end. So what? I'll go to defensive end. I'll kick that guy's in. Oh, we're switching the whole defense. We need you to play nose tackle. All right, well, I play nose tackle. It's not like that anymore. Klecko was a brute. He was a farmer.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He's a big farm boy. He's strong. He had farmer strength. He came in here and he kicked everybody's ass. That's not the way it is anymore. These guys are like zeroed in, and you're a trainer, man. You know how it is. And so I think a lot of that can be swallowed up with that. I think that guys like Conklin, Uzoma, Ruckert, who I'm really high on. I love Kenny Yeboah, but he looks like he's probably going to get pushed out. If Kuntz can even prove that, anything, I think Yeboah is probably the first to go, sad to say. But it is what it is. New offensive system, new offensive coaching and everything. And it just is what it is. I don't care. Either make your name or don't. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, it's exciting, man. Like you talked about, and we talked about all these different position groups where it's like the Jets have a plethora of talent. When's the last time you could say that on offense where it's like you want to take Garrett Wilson out of the game plan? Go for it. We still have other guys that can pick up the slack, especially when Breece Hall's healthy and you have the tight ends and you have Lazard and Hardman, all these different things. Now, the question I had for you is how much of a difference is Hackett going to make? Because I think Mike LaFleur last year was a problem where, not last year, but it's just, he was an inexperienced coach with an inexperienced staff, and with an inexperienced quarterback was like the trifecta of badness. Or is that a word, badness? I just bad on offense. So then you go from LaFleur and his inexperience and all like the problems he's having with force feeding his offense and everything else, not catering to players, to Hackett, who's supposed to be very player friendly, fun, but also maximizes your opportunities. Like if I know what you do, I will maximize you. How much is that going to help this Jets offense?
Well, and that's what we were told that was what LaFleur was going to do, But I think in fairness, LaFleur got a bum deal too. I mean, this coaching staff was created in a very deliberate way. You had Saleh first time, LaFleur first time, Calabrese first time, Ulbrich had an interim defensive coordinator, but this was his first full-time. Yeah. And then you had John Benton. You had Greg Knapp. Greg Knapp was the glue for the offense. He was the old sage. I mean, guys like Steve Young and Peyton Manning swear that without Knapp, they would have been different players. And they said he's the perfect guy for Zach Wilson to get, tutored by. And then all of a sudden he passes away. And granted, while the family aspect is obviously more important, when you look at it as far as it pertains to the team, that leaves LaFleur as this unquestioned boss of the offense, and he's never done it before. Yep. So I'm not defending him necessarily, other than to just offer perspective. It's like when we're looking at this guy, he just wants to draw up offenses, and his schemes worked. I mean, there were guys open all over the place all day long. That said, he didn't know how he had all his interpersonal shit. He was way out of line with a lot of that stuff. As far as utilizing players properly, he was off base. So Hackett, the good thing with him is he's been there, done that. He's worked with shitty guys before, whether it's, Blake Bortles down in Jacksonville. He's had great success with the quarterback that we happen to have, the wide receivers that we happen to have. Like they're all here with him. He went to Denver as a head coach, didn't work, but that was fucking 14 games and he was out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he wasn't a head coach. But I think when you look at that, bringing on that experience, I think it's going to make a world of difference. And just like you said, if all he's able to do is go, no, that guy does this well, I got 5 plays a game for that guy to do that in these situations. That's the best option. You write that stuff in. And I think if he does that, we're going to see the difference.
Yeah, I'm not completely shitting on LaFleur. I don't like the way he did certain things, but I also think when you have Hackett can also help Saleh with time management, game management, and then you have the final piece of the puzzle, which I had to save to last because this is the most exciting part of the entire puzzle. Mr. GreenBean, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of your New York Jets, man.
Yeah.
Like when he walked in the building, I was like, I watched the video like 45 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Like I was like a little kid on Christmas, man. Like this is like that's Aaron Rodgers wearing the green and white, walking into our building, high fiving Saleh and doing all this shit. That's Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to Garrett Wilson to practice. I'm like, this is a dream. Like this is like, I don't give a fuck how old he is. He's still a great quarterback.
Hell yeah.
And he's our quarterback. Like, so I guess the first question I have for you about Rodgers is the compensation. A lot of people got caught up on it, me included, with the compensation next year, where it was can be probably a first round pick.
Oh yeah.
And the condition was only 65% of playing time. And I was like, come on, man, like make it like playoffs or something. Make it a little bit more harder to achieve. But looking back at it now, what was your thoughts on the compensation for Rodgers?
It was more than I thought. Okay, I'll be honest, but I didn't think it was exorbitant. Like I didn't think it was crazy. We didn't give, 2 firsts and a second and then 2/3. Like we, you know what I mean? It was a touch more than I would have liked to see. And I agree with you. Like next year's first, 65%. It just so happens to be that's what Brett Favre played for us. So I think there's something to that.
Yeah.
But look, there's a way around it. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers is good enough for the first 3 quarters, maybe we throw Zach in for the 4th quarter and fucking, imagine we pulled something like that off. Like he only played 64%. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a little bit more than I hoped, but the great comparison is, and you probably remember this. You were out there like I was back when Revis was traded, when we traded up for Revis, I should say. People were livid with the amount I think it was an extra second and a 5th. And people were like, that's fucked up. We wanted to use our second. This guy's not that good. Does anybody talk about that? Why don't you talk about it? Well, because he's a Hall of Fame cornerback for the New York Jets. And that's why. And we saw the greatest cornerback play we've ever seen via that player. So it doesn't matter anymore. I think if Aaron Rodgers comes in and gets us to 12 plus wins, we get it into playoffs, maybe even a home playoff game, and maybe, dare I say, get into that damn game at the end of the season. Yep. Nobody's going to give 2 shits about a first round pick. That's going to be 30, 31, 32. It doesn't matter. Yep. And, so that's a lot. There's a lot there. But I think, look, at the end of the day, if Joe Douglas was just, whatever, even Woody, whoever was tired of it, just fucking get the guy in here. We're tired of it. Just get him in here. So what? Give the extra second. What do we care? Just, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's worth it. That's the end of it. Just like you said, how many kids, how many old men like myself watched that video 45 times of him wearing the Jets colors, walking into our facility, the DAP with Saleh, pop. It was like meant to be. You know what I mean? It was beautiful. I mean, it was so perfect. And the thing is, Tyson, is he looks different. And people are saying, oh, he's pretending. Dude, I don't think so. I think it's got to be hard. Like Tyson, imagine you're at work and, your job loves you and everything. And all of a sudden they hire a guy for your position. You're still working there. Yep. But you have to, hey, Tyson, do me a favor. Train this guy. Make sure he knows everything that you know. Why? How does that feel? Yep. You know what I mean? Now, Aaron Rodgers came back with that one, multiple MVPs and in their face. But that's kind of the air that couldn't have been fun for anybody, especially him having been on the other side of it as the young buck with Brett Favre. Yep. So this is what they are up there, and it had to be a negative. I think that the guy came here. He's legitimately refreshed. It's a reset button. He's got young, exciting talent around him. He's got some familiar faces, Hackett and Lazard and Cobb's here. They're all here. It's like, this is great. He's hanging out with Jessica Alba and Sauce Gardner at the Knicks game. It's like a whole different world, and I think it's beautiful, man, quite frankly. I think it's worth it.
No, and the one thing about the trade, I was like, well, is he going to truly embrace being a Jet? Does he really want to be here? He's just trying to collect the $60 million. What is he truly trying to do here? And we all watched the press conference. I'm like, he looked genuinely happy It was
Yeah.
authentic, dude. Like he looked relieved, he looked happy, like, and you see all his former teammates saying it. Randall Cobb saying it. Billy Turner's like, he's fucking happy, dude. Like he is enjoying every minute of it. He's enjoying hanging out with Brees Hall and all these guys, and it's like he's bought in. And according to like whatever they're talking about now about the contract, it's pretty much written out where he's gonna probably be here at least 2 years. That's
Right.
kind of like his plan. Like he wants to be here 2 years. He wants to be, not like a one-term, like a 1 year, like I'm in, I'm out, I did my best, I'm gone. Like he's committed to it, man.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. And it's just the dividends he's already paying. Like he talked about it where Sauce Gardner's like, he's actually helping me. He's going to tell me how quarterbacks attack me so I can improve my game. Like he's helping all these young guys take their game to a whole nother level, dude. And that's amazing. Like I think it's incredible. Like I was so excited to see it. And then the other thing was, well, he won't be here for practice, man. He's going to come here, sign his contract, say hello, and he's out of here. Fucking next day he's practicing, dude.
That's right.
He went to the meeting the same day. And I'm like, who is this Aaron Rodgers? Because all this shit we heard about him is the complete opposite of what we're seeing right now, right?
That's true. It's very, very true. And like, look, I was told that this is a choreographed display, New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers, to make him look like a normal guy. I don't see that at all. You know as well as anyone, when athletes come to New York from Phoenix or Wisconsin, it's an exciting place. They go to the Knicks game. They go see the Rangers. That's what they do. They're out and about. How many new athletes have we seen on the Garden Teletron? Whatever fucking it's called anymore. The TV, is it still called the Teletron? Do they call it that? I don't even know. I'm old, man. The Teletron. But that, and that's the thing. Like you said, like there's a genuine excitement, from him, and like he's saying all the right things. What about with the Joe Willie thing? Like, Joe Namath offered his number 2. He said, well, I heard that Joe Namath, I appreciate it, but look, number 12 is Broadway Joe here. Yep. I'm not doing that. That was the right answer. Even if he took it, it wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world. Okay, great. We get to see number 12 again, but it was the right answer. And he had that awareness to not be a douchebag and like honor the one friggin' thing that we can honor here, which is Joe. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And I think that, yeah, man, I think he looks genuinely excited. I think that the players and the staff and the fan base are all excited. It's already a positive.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is that his leadership and his mindset, where he was like, we're actually making a shirt about this, but it's like they asked him, Michael K, to like, well, you're coming here to help slay the dragon, this and that. He's like, no, we want to become the dragon.
Yeah.
Like we have higher standards. You're like, we want to be the team that everybody wants to come beat. Like we want to be great. Like we're not going to tolerate being mediocre. We don't like, and I love that because this franchise needs that. This team doesn't know how to win. They haven't won in forever. They haven't made the playoffs. They haven't done none of this shit. So you need that mindset where, listen, you think you're working hard, you got to work harder. And I'm going to tell you how to do it because this is where I want to be. I will, like follow my lead. I'll get you there. And you have guys that are used to, like Sauce Gardner's a winner and Garrett Wilson, all these guys. But like when you have a prominent all-time great player coming in and doing that, that's incredible, dude. Like that translates throughout your entire organization, man. Everybody buys in, everybody rallies around it. And it just makes your level of play better. Like, because like these young guys in the locker room, they don't want to let Aaron Rodgers down. But bro, I better be in fucking great shape. I better know my routes. I better know the playbook. If I don't, he's gonna rip my ass in the media. Like he'll tell the reporter, yeah, he blew his route. Like that's what he did. Like it just changes everything, man.
It's very, very true, man. And I think that there will be that desire to put in that extra 10% or whatever it is to get you over that hump. And also that additional focus, not to let him down. But in addition to that, if they do, he's not going to have it. He's not going to, Laken Tomlinson being a revolving door for too long. He's going to walk and say, man, I'm not getting killed anymore, buddy. You get the next fucking guy in there. Like it's not happening. Yep. If there is a weak link, we're going to be told. It's not like Zach's back there like, I don't know. Yep. I mean, he's too timid. He doesn't have that authority yet. And I think that's going to go a long way too, man. Like you said, they don't know how to win. We have young players that can be great and that are great and sincerely wanted to put in the work to be great. But having someone there to show you the way, not a coach, somebody on the field with you to show you the way, is the X factor. That's the difference. And developing that kind of, for lack of a better term, that pipeline of greatness, players come into this organization, there are great players ahead of them that help them. And then when they're gone, you're there. And that's how it starts. You need to break the mold somewhere. And I think this can do it. And let me just say, man, like nobody had any problem with Tom Brady going down to, his last touchdown, his last pass as a Patriot was a pick 6 in the playoffs. And like everybody thought it was a great thing that he went to Tampa and he's got Gronkowski. The only reason we're hearing anything is because people are used to the Jets sucking, and it's gotta be somebody that with Aaron Rodgers level, his caliber of player that's going to help us get out of this kind of goo we're stuck in, because we have the fucking guns, man. We are ready to go. We got him. I think it's going to happen, Tyson. I'm excited, man. I like genuinely excited.
No, dude, and that's the whole thing. It's like I was so tired of hearing about Joe Flacco and the Super Bowl win. Like, okay, Joe Flacco, you won a Super Bowl, but you're not bringing that winning mindset to this locker room. You're collecting a paycheck, and like you said, you're sleeping. You didn't give 2 shits. You're Joe Douglas's best friend for some reason. They kept bringing you back, and you're worthless. But Aaron Rodgers has been there, done that. He's been a league MVP recently. Right. So you're bringing that resume here. Like, this is my standard. I can win. I've been there, done that. Follow me. I'll do it. So it brings me to one of my final questions for you is, we're excited, dude. We are ridiculously excited. I mean, I'm thinking AFC East. I'm thinking home playoff game. I want to go toe-to-toe with everybody. Give us 6 primetime games. I don't give a fuck. Bring them on. Let's go for that. But what's a realistic expectation for wins and losses? I mean, should we have the expectation where this team should win a floor of 11 games? Like, should we be thinking that?
Yeah, I'm thinking a floor of 11 games. That's what I'm thinking. I think if we end up getting, squeaking into the playoffs as a wild card with a lucky 9-7, that ain't going to cut it. Nope. I mean, look, we get in and we make noise in there. It's a different story, but that's not going to cut it. Like having, an up and down season isn't going to fly. And I think 11 wins is our floor. I think realistically, we could be looking at 12, 13.
Yep.
Now, here's my crazy brain. I'll give you the best case scenario. We're the team that fucking knocks those champagne glasses out of the 72 Dolphins' mouths. And we're the undefeated team. We stomp through the NFL and we go right to the Super Bowl and just lose our steel-toed boots in everybody's asses. That's what I'd love to see happen, man. I'd love it to be us. Why not us, Tyson? Why not us?
We're so due. We're so due for big things. It's like this team has so much unfortunate luck over the years. Like we could talk about it for hours and hours and hours about all the bad things. Like there's finally some positive things happening. Like the fact that he's even in the building to me is such a positive. I never thought the millions would even happen. And you have all the, they're still making moves to the roster, but you have a very good roster and anything can happen in the NFL. Just make it in there. But me, it's like, and the funny thing is, and this drives me crazy, is everybody's so infatuated with the Patriots. I can give 2 shits about the Patriots. Like we're on the bigger and better things now, man. Now I'm focused on the AFC East, and they're the least of my concerns. The Dolphins and Bills are one. Those are teams you got to beat. Then you go on further, above that. But expectations have got to be high, dude. Like you've got to, like I said, this shouldn't be like a 9-win season. We shouldn't be there late in the season begging for one win to make the playoffs. Like this should be a very convincing, dominant effort from this team this year.
I agree, man. Now, and look, I'm with you with the Patriots. At the same time, we can't beat them. So we need to beat them. Bart Scott said it last year in our first game against the Patriots. He said, and we were on a roll, right? We were on a roll at that point. He said, this is a game where the Jets need to walk in and step on the Patriots' throats and let them know you don't belong here anymore.
Yep.
This is no longer your division. And we couldn't, Zach threw 3 picks and the whole thing. And we ended up losing the game, but we still got to beat them. And that's the truth. We were able to beat Miami. We were able to beat Buffalo last year and almost twice with the Bills. But the Patriots, somehow we just, we get stymied. I mean, Zach Wilson, just like Sam Darnold before him, whatever it is about Bill Belichick, they played their worst games. Aaron Rodgers ain't going to do that. He's going to go out there and shred their weak links, and we're going to beat the living shit out of them. I think the AFC East can be ours. I think Buffalo is a very, very good team, but I think they're somewhat of paper champions. They've done nothing. They've done nothing. And now they're losing guys like Edmonds and some others. They're finally starting that defense that's been together for 6 years is finally starting to fracture a little bit. And that's a good thing. And obviously they lost Dable, who I think is very, very important to what they were doing. So we can go in there. We beat the Bills with Zach. We can win and 154 yards. We can go in there and we can kick the living hell out of them. And the AFC East can be ours. And if it's ours, we're getting some home playoff games. And that's going to be some exciting stuff. And I'll be right with you, sitting with you.
Yeah, no, I can't wait for that. Now, the one question everybody keeps asking is like the schedule comes out on Thursday. And for everybody asking, we'll be live at 8:30 going over the schedule. But like, who do you want week 1? And I get everybody wants the Giants. So Jets, Giants, 9-11. Respect that. Yeah. I live 45 minutes from there. I think that'd be amazing. Sign me up for that. For some reason, if that doesn't happen, though, I want the Patriots, dude. I want the Patriots week 1, dude. Right? Bring them on. Sunday Night Football, Jets, Jets, Patriots up there at MetLife, and that like Aaron Rodgers coming out party, dropping 40 on the Patriots and saying, "Here we are, we're for real. Fuck off." Like you know what I mean? Like that's what I want, big time.
I would love that. I happen to think that's what's going to happen. I mean, the 9-11 game and 9-11 was Jets Patriots. That's actually the Mo Lewis, Drew Bledsoe game. If you
I was
remember
there for that. God help me.
Yeah.
I was, dude. I was sitting there because they had Testaverde was there. And the funny story for you, when Mo Lewis hit him,
I was there.
Tom Brady came in.
We heard it.
Dude, and then everybody stands like, "Oh, who's this Brady guy? Our season's over. He's gonna suck." They love Bledsoe. They hated Brady.
Of course. Bledsoe was the first $100 million quarterback. Like people look at Mo Lewis. It's the saddest thing what happened to Mo Lewis. He was one of our true greats.
Yes, he was.
Like rookie of the year, 12 straight years as a Jet, ignored, had better stats than Junior Seau and Derek Thomas, was fucking ignored. When Parcells finally came here, Mo Lewis was a perennial all-pro once Parcells came. But now we all look at him and go, "Oh, Tom Brady, if it wasn't for Mo Lewis." At that time, knocking Drew Bledsoe into outer space was the best possible thing that could have happened. Of course, you don't root for injury, but as far as on the football field, knocking him into next week was 100% of Jets fans applauded that, cheered it. Patriots fans were dreading it. And Tom Brady, a 6th-round pick, ended up being Tom Brady. What are you going to do? But so that's why I think it's going to be the Patriots. It's like it's a reliving of that moment. I would love it if it was Jets Giants on Monday night. I think that would be cool too. But then it's like then one New York team has to lose. I don't know if they're going to design it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think Jets Pats is the way it's going to go. I think that'll be awesome because like you said, I think we're ready, man. We're ready to kick the living shit out of them. And I think it's time, and that would be the best way to start our season.
That's the way to set the tone, man, where it's like just a new age Jets with the quarterback, and you come out and you just, on the biggest stage because the Jets are going to be the biggest story, dude. They're the biggest story in the NFL. That's why they're going to have all these primetime games or anything else. And I guess my last question for you is the whole Hard Knocks thing, man. I think that, to me, it's like the one Jets drive, like their trailer for the upcoming series looks incredible. The New York Jets social media team is incredible. Like they're doing great access. To me, it's like, I get the Hard Knocks thing, and I know Woody Johnson will love it because all he sees is dollar signs and exposure for his team. But you already have that. Like you already have the headlines. You already have the NFL radars already square. Like focus on the Jets. I don't need the Hard Knocks cameras in here, man. I could pass on that. I can just let them, because like we talked about, the Quinnen Williams thing would be a thing. Mekhi Becton competing. Like they'll find little fucking things to pick on that we just don't need to deal with.
We don't. It's going to be a huge distraction. That said, dude, I think, you can't say no if you qualify and they pick you. You can't say no. It's like in the CBA, whatever the hell it is. But and look, as much as I would definitely be consuming that, I would be watching it. I hope it's not us, but dude, I just think there's just too much. I mean, it's too sweet of a fruit for the NFL to ignore. Aaron Rodgers, the drama, the Jets, the worst team. And don't forget, the last time we were on Hard Knocks, it was must-see TV with Rex. So, and we were 11-5. So it was, who knows?
No, it's definitely. Well, Mr. GreenBean, I think I said we'd talk for like a half hour, 45 minutes. It's been an hour and 20, so I owe you time.
That's how it goes, man. You know how it goes.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy as shit. And now let everybody know. First of all, I had Gunny on a little while ago, a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
He's awesome. Like you have like an all-star cast, you guys, between Matt and Ryan, all the guys you have on your show. It's like, Jesus Christ, man, you have like a monopoly over there.
Yeah, I like to go find guys that are good, but maybe not getting the they're not getting the attention, maybe, for lack of a better word. I like to do that. I like to go, hey, come on, hang out with me if they're good. If they can talk Jets, but Gunny's the shit, man. Gunny's
awesome.
wife is even better. You got to interview her one day. She's a Packers fan. Oh, it's funny.
She?
Oh, yeah, dude. Most of Gunny's kids are Packers fans. It's a funny, poor Gunny, dude. But we actually had her on the Thursday thick of it last week. It was the best. But anyway, yeah, man. I mean, Ryan and Matt, I mean, dude, all those guys, I mean, we have a great community, dude. We really do. I think I look around sometimes at other teams, and it's like, you know what I mean? They don't have what we have, and we're a special breed. And it's just great to be able to hang out with guys like you, man. Truly. I mean, again, I was listening to you for years before I even decided to do this. So, man, I love being able to spend time over here.
No, I definitely appreciate your time. Like I said, there's so many great, like you guys are great, man. I can watch all your shit, and like we always learn something new. And everybody's like, nobody's in competition, man. Like, everybody's just friends. Like, right. I don't give like fuck up more anybody. I don't give a shit, dude. Like we're all diehard fans that all want the same thing. And YouTube gives us a platform to actually express our opinion, not let the media talk for us.
Right.
Like Rich to me is not talking for me. Brian Costello's not talking for you. We're saying what we want to say, and like talking to other Jet fans, which is awesome. That's the whole goal of all this.
It is. It's literally the reason that I decided to jump in. I'm like, I can't take it. I just can't take these negative spin because it's negative enough. You know what I mean? Now we have to add negative spin on it. But that's it. It's a great thing that we're able to do, that we're able to come up here. And then all the guys in the chat too. Like, I mean, you guys, we get to like have these conversations with Jets fans across the freaking globe. We get to talk with each other. It's special, man. It really is.
So for those of you that don't know you, which everybody knows you at this point, you're GreenBean, everybody knows you, but how can they, well, I'll tag you in our description or anything, but how can people follow you?
Yeah, you can find me over at GreenBean Jets Fan on YouTube. We also have our new channel, the Talkin' Jets channel, which in July will be moving the Tuesday show over there and some other great content that we have kind of brewing. So yeah, you can follow me at GreenBean Jets Fan. And if you're feeling frisky, go over and give us a sub at Talkin' Jets as well.
Definitely do that. You guys are awesome. I love watching you guys. You crack me up. And then it's like, the more I talk to you guys, it's even funnier. It's just crazy shit. So GreenBean, thank you so much. Hopefully again, like during training camp, we'll catch up again, do some previews and whatever else you want to do. And that's it, man. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Tyson. I appreciate it, man.
Have a good night, all. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll be live Thursday night, 8:30 for the schedule.